Oh wow, look at the comments this is getting. That's a fair question. Hold on, that's not right. We didn't say that. What? That's completely wrong. Okay, stop, pause. Let's set something straight. I get it. Content licensing terms can be overwhelming and downright confusing. We hear you. Give me like 10 minutes and I'll try and make it as clear as possible. Hi, I'm Matt, a design school educator here at Canva. I recently did a video all about Canva's content licensing agreement, and as we know, things can change quickly, especially when you introduce AI into the mix. This is why it's sometimes hard to provide black and white answers to legal questions. Ever-changing legal landscapes, new laws, individual circumstances, and location-specific nuances. Well, sometimes all we can give is a suggestion of what you can do. But we get it. You're running a business. You need more than a suggestion. You want to know that you're protected and aren't at risk of breaching Canva's terms or infringing anyone else's copyright. So with that in mind, I'm going to try and answer your questions specifically about print-on-demand products. But I'll throw in some other stuff to cover off platforms you might be using your Canva designs on. Look, it's worth mentioning our full content license agreement can be found here. This has all the latest information about what you can and can't do. Now, there is some legal speak in there. That unfortunately comes with the territory, but our team is committed to making this as easy to understand as possible. So if there's something you don't understand, ask a question here and one of our customer support team will get back to you. First, I'll explain some acronyms for anyone who isn't familiar. For anyone who's already making a living in this area, feel free to skip ahead 30 or so seconds. Print on demand, often referred to as P.O.D or P.O.D, depending who you talk to, is a convenient and eco-friendly publishing method that allows authors, artists, and businesses to print and ship their creative works or products only when an order is placed, eliminating the need for large upfront print runs and storage of inventory, therefore reducing waste and saving resources. By working with a print-on-demand service provider, creators can focus on creating while providers handle the logistics of printing, shipping, and sometimes even customer service. P.O.D empowers individuals and businesses to bring ideas to life with minimal risk and investment, making it an increasingly popular choice in today's fast-paced digital world. Now, P.O.D often gets thrown around with K.D.P, Kindle Direct Publishing. While they're both fantastic options for authors and creators to publish and distribute their works, they do have some key differences. K.D.P is a platform offered by Amazon that focuses on publishing and distributing ebooks and print books through the Kindle store and the Amazon website. So it's like P.O.D, but only available through Amazon. Another associated term is Printables. These are digital files people purchase to download and print at home or their local print shop. These files can include anything from coloring pages, greeting cards, invitations, planner templates, educational worksheets, or even wall art. In fact, I've got a few printables on my walls at home. Printables cater to a wide range of interests and needs, making it easy and empowering for individuals to create unique, tangible items for personal use or as thoughtful gifts. Hopefully that succinctly explains what the differences are. Okay, the basic thing I'm going to talk about and explain in the next part of the video is if you want to create a product that you can sell, whether it's a t-shirt, ebook, or a template, it needs to be an original design. And that's a great question. Sometimes also called a unique design, this means you're using a combination of design elements to create a new creative work. Hey, will you stick around? I could probably use you in case I use more jargon. Let me show you what I mean. Say I want to create a t-shirt to print on demand. Well, I can't use any of these pre-made templates. These have been created by someone in the creators community, and if I tried to sell their creation, well, it would be a little bit like profiting off someone else's hard work. I also couldn't start with a blank template, search for a graphic or a photo from the library, put it on the shirt by itself, and then upload that to print. Again, someone else has created that individual graphic or photo, so trying to sell a t-shirt with only that element on it, it's not my original creation. Now, this is where people might get confused. If I add more graphics to this design, maybe some text in here, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Well, suddenly I have a design I can call my own. Yep, this is a question that we get asked a lot. And it's a hard one to answer because there are so many different types of graphics and images and photographs, shapes, texts, and other elements in the Canva library. But a good question to ask yourself is, what I'm selling a unique design that I've put creative effort into? Or am I just reselling content that I found on Canva with minimal changes? If in doubt, you probably need to add or change or remove some of the elements to make it your own. Get creative. Here's another question we get asked a lot. If I have a double-sided shirt, can I have my original design on the back where I've combined multiple graphics, and then on the front just have one graphic, maybe over the heart? Unfortunately, the answer is no, because you have to display the front side content in a standalone basis in order to facilitate the production of that t-shirt. So again, you would need to add something to make this your own. So just to reiterate, you cannot sell any Canva content on a standalone basis. Standalone means that the content stays in the substantially same form as it exists in Canva's library. Whether you're creating the t-shirt yourself or using a third-party print service. You need to do more than just add a filter. Or just change the color. Or just resize it. Or just crop it. This is not making it original. Likewise, just outlining the content. Or just adding minimal additional design elements, such as a border. This would still be classed as standalone use. Another area we see standalone use a lot is stickers. Unmodified elements on sheets of individual stickers are not allowed under our content license agreement, as it's a standalone use of each individual element. Now, if this person, let's call them AJ, were to add some inspirational quotes that he'd come up with to these stickers using Canva fonts and maybe some additional elements, this would follow our content license agreement. How are we going? I really hope this is making sense. If it's not, or if I've missed something, you know the drill. Leave a comment below and I promise we'll answer your question, not just send you to another video. Okay, what about Blake? He's created a children's book using one of our templates. If he was to sell it like this, straight from the template, he wouldn't be complying with our content license agreement. But if he uses the template as a starting point and then fills it in with his own words and adds in additional elements and his own creative effort, I would say this book is now unique to Blake and therefore allowed under our content license agreement. Okay, there are extra examples on the FAQ sheet. Everything from printable greeting cards, poster designs, ebooks, and even working for clients. If there is a use case we haven't covered, let us know. Now, I know we're running out of time, but I did want to mention special conditions for using Canva Pro content in templates or products for sale. If you want to create and sell templates that include pro content, well, these templates can only be Canva links. Oh, hello, you're still here, and that's a good point. A template is a design with a set layout and style with the intention to be edited or customized. So this wedding invitation is a template because your customer will need to add in their details in order to use it, to make it finished. And this ebook is not a template because it's a finished product, even though there are sections where the people can add their own notes and drawings. If you're using pro content in electronic publications, including ebooks, you need to design it in Canva. In other words, you can't download pro content from Canva and then use it to design your ebook in another software application.
And yes, you can use pro content in an unedited format in your Canva designed electronic publication, which means a photo by itself on a page with no elements overlaid on the top. But you need to stick to the maximum of 480,000 pixel limit.
Okay, that's a nice segue to talk about copyright. Generally speaking, if you're the creator of an original design, you're also the copyright holder. But if you use a third-party content like photos or elements from our library in your design, you don't own those pieces, but you have a license to them. So if you use Canva to design an ebook that you want to sell on Amazon K.D.P, you will own all of the original text you have written in your book, but you won't own the photos from Canva that you use to illustrate the book. And this is quite common. A lot of authors are amazing storytellers, and they will work with visual artists to bring their story to life with illustrations. And some people have been asking how this all works if you don't own every part of your design, but you want to upload it and sell it somewhere. If the service you're using says you have to be the copyright owner of everything in your design, then unfortunately you wouldn't be able to use Canva content in that design. But if they're just asking you if you have the right to use the content in your design, well, this is A-OK, as we've given you a license to use it. The final thing I'll say about this is it's your responsibility to check the terms of your print services or third-party websites. It's impossible for us to advise on all the different options out there across the world. Okay, last thing I promised to explain, artificial intelligence, in particular text to image. If you haven't played around with Canva's text to image tool, you're missing out. It's incredibly fun. Additionally, images generated with text to image are not covered by Canva's content license agreement, meaning you can use these images for any lawful purpose, including selling them. As long as you comply with our AI product terms, check out this page to find out more. I may need to have to do a whole video about that actually, because it's so new, and in many countries the legal ownership of AI generated works is still unclear. This means in your country where you're watching from, you may not be the copyright owner of the images you make. So if you plan on selling your AI generated works, I'd suggest you get some local legal advice just so you know what your rights are. And with that, we're at the end of the video. I really hope this helps. As you can see, it's a pretty complex area, and the best advice I can give is Try to be a good human and do your due diligence and don't take credit for someone else's work. If you're not sure about something, please reach out to our support team and ask your specific question. We love that you're using Canva to make an income. It's really so exciting to us. But we also want to make sure that you feel comfortable and safe doing so. So if we haven't answered your question here or in the FAQs, drop us a line. Oh, hello. You're still here. I'm just replying to a few comments. What? You think we don't read the comments? We do, trust me. Every single one. We actually really appreciate that people take their time to comment, ask questions, or just tell us how they're using Canva. Anyway, if you want to know more about how you can use Canva for a whole range of things, check out the playlist. And this one might go really well with what you just watched. We're updating and adding new ones every week. See you soon.